Welcome everybody to I'll Be Right Back, the show where we take a look at a horror movie, and we have a new Alien TV show at the moment, Peter, Alien Earth. So I thought, let's go back and take a look at the original Alien.
Yeah. Now, it's a long time since I've seen this one. I remember watching it as a kid, but I don't think I've ever given this a second viewing. Certainly not in 25 years. So this was interesting to go back and watch.
It absolutely baffles me that this was made in the 70s. Like, the production design of it is incredible. I think visually it looks like I couldn't really pull apart any of the visual effects. Like, it just looks incredible. It's so atmospheric. Like, it feels so ahead of its time.
What? James, I thought it was boring. I thought it was dull as ditch water.
What? Oh my god. Are we going to have another row? Why is it I always love it and you hate it when we have arguments about these movies?
Honestly, I went in... Now, in my little ginger brain, I've always known that I always loved Aliens more than I loved Alien. That's a given. But I remember loving this, and I remember being terrified by it back in the day. And this, for me, really is one of those films where it's taken a place in my brain where it's been kind of raised to perfection. And I wish we hadn't watched it again. I wish we hadn't gone back and rewatched it, because honestly, I found a lot of it really boring. Very artistic, and you know I don't do well with kind of artsy-fartsy shit. But like, I felt some of the scenes were like 3 or 4 times longer than they needed to be. The landing of the spaceship went on forever in a friggin' day. Looking at a computer screen seems to go on for an hour and a half.
There was the moment where she's setting the trigger, the detonator for the ship at the end, and I was like, this is maybe a little bit longer than it needs to be. But that's the only time that really stuck out to me. But I think you have to kind of appreciate like that this is a whole universe that this film is setting up, and I think it does a wonderful job at that, you know.
I think that's part of the problem for me, that I've watched so much Alien-based xenomorph movies that this kind of pales in comparison a little bit to them now. You know, I'm sounding negative here. I did enjoy it. Don't get us wrong. I did enjoy it, and I think it's got a great setup. I think the creature effects are amazing. I think you've got some stunning performances, but it's not my favourite Alien movie. I think that still lies heavily with Aliens.
Well, maybe you'll hate that too when we get to
well, that's my... Do you know what? You're saying that? That's my friggin' worry. I feel like I've gone back and rewatched old films a lot recently and been sorely disappointed with them. It scares us.
Well, you're wrong. So we'll get to it. Okay. So, Alien 1979, a little bit of background about the movie. It was written by Dan O'Bannon, who had worked on Dark Star, which was John Carpenter's directorial debut. So that's sort of like a sci-fi kind of comedy horror kind of thing. So it's got like a beach ball painted silver with like weird hands. So it always left him wanting to do like a proper Alien film with like a realistic looking one. He wrote a 29-page script called Memory, which served as the basis of the film's opening, with a spaceship crew receiving distress signal breaking down while they're investigating it. And he used another film idea about gremlins infiltrating a B-52 bomber in World War II as inspiration for the second half. So the crew kind of looking over.
Love that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. The film was pitched as Jaws in space, and I think it is kind of like I can see that. I think it delivered on that. But Roger Corman's production company nearly signed for the film before it ultimately landed at 20th Century Fox. I think that's a bullet dodged, isn't it?
Crikey, can you imagine? We wouldn't have had the franchise going forward, I don't think, would we? Because it would have been incredibly cheesy.
It is like just a tight-in, I think, and we'll get to like, you know, the kind of spin-offs and that kind of stuff later on. But yeah, it's I think it'd have been a one and done. I think if Roger Corman had any involvement in it.
That said, he's Fantastic Four's a masterpiece.
I mean, I do like that film. I do like, check out Triple G Comics. I can view this all day if you want to see our opinions on that. Ridley Scott signed on to direct, taking influence from Star Wars and 2001: A Space Odyssey for the depictions of space, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre for its horror elements. I just think like the universe that they set up here is incredible. I think similar to Star Wars, it just does a good job of putting you in that world. I love how like everything is just dirty and smoking, and it's just like blinking lights. Like
that annoyed me.
The retro futuristic kind of thing of like keypads and like kind of standard definition screens and stuff.
Maybe that's partially my problem with this, because I'm used to a space set up in the future of Star Trek, where everything's nice and clean and they're in nice uniforms and it's organised. This, you mentioned the smoking there. You know I'm an anti-smoker. That got right on my friggin' tits. Every single character seemed to be puffing away all the way through it. And this is the shittest ship known to man. You know, this is a ship that when you think, oh, we might have to detonate the ship, so let's keep people calm. You press the button. So what does it do? Oh, this is a good time to start venting shit into the corridors and setting strobe lights off. Say, what's all that about? Why is the ship constantly just pissing water or squirting stuff at them or lights flashing? They go, oh, it's a shit hole. I wouldn't leave Earth.
It's a commercial like vehicle. It's a rich company, but this corner's cut, and I like that kind of the element of it. But I like the dinginess of it. I think that's really cool. And you have like there is sort of more sheeniness with like the hospital room or the canteen and stuff like that. But I like how the kind of industrial look of the rest of the ship, I think, is pretty cool.
I do think as well the effects, mind, are spot on. And I'm keeping in mind the date this film was made. The robot effect, when he's cut in half near the end, is phenomenal.
Yeah, just the flailing and the spitting and everything, like the white kind of blood coming out was just gross and awesome. Like, I absolutely love that as well. So the alien itself, so designed by H.R. Geiger, who is a Swiss artist. He based it on his 1976 painting Necronom 4, which I've actually seen in person. I went to the Geiger Museum in Gruyere in Switzerland. He's a weird guy, very weird. Everything's very phallic. Like there's just everything looks like a dick's. Even if you look at I was looking at the alien head in this, and I'm like, this just looks like a dick. Everything looks
massive
like a dick.
Shiny helmet.
Yeah, he's a bit of a pervy guy.
Shiny bell end.
But yeah. But like his whole thing was kind of like biomechanical, like things like organisms with mechanical elements in them, and I think you can see that in the alien. I think that extends to the ship as well. I mean, as iconic as a design really gets, I think the only thing for me in this was I could kind of tell it was a guy in a suit in some shots.
Yeah, so there's a couple of shots where you very definitely get that, particularly I think at the end where she blows it out the airlock and it's attached to the rope or whatever. It looks daft. You know, it looks daft at that scene. But for the majority of the time, I was pretty happy with it. I think it looks cool. There's that iconic scene in the tubes, isn't it, where it jumps out with its hands open. That's still pretty good.
That jump scare got me, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah, got me as well.
The shit out of me.
Yeah, absolutely got me as well. The chest burst scene is an absolute classic. Even though the alien thing looks a little bit ropey now, I think you would argue.
That comes out of him.
Yeah.
But just like for the ball to drop, like imagine seeing that in the cinema the first time, like how horrific that was. It was just so good. And like I think face huggers are just a horrendous concept. Like, you know, that these things like clasp onto your face. There's no way you're getting off. I love like when they try and cut it off and the acid starts leaking. It's like, oh my god, this might leak through the whole ship and stuff. I thought that was just such a well-crafted creature, I think.
Just perfection, really.
So the characters, I really loved how like natural the cast is in this. They like bicker but they feel like they've been together a long time, you know, and you don't really get that often in films, like the way the kind of two guys are kind of like, well, you guys are getting paid more and stuff. That was fun.
Yeah, I like that element.
Yeah, there was good banter between them. I really enjoyed that.
All of the characters in this were very strong, and you know, I liked the dialect between them. I liked the grittiness. It's got its usual kind of ridiculousness, you know, in terms of there's a wild alien loose on the ship. What'll we do? Well, let's split up and send individuals wandering around. It's like, for fuck's sake, what's a cat there for, James? Why is there a cat? Why is the pussy on board?
For some companionship, I assume. You know, why not have a cat?
All right.
It's fun.
So Wayland Industries are happy enough to spend all that money on cryo-preserving a bloody cat and send it off in space.
Does the cat have to go in on its own, or can it not get in?
Yeah, she puts it in at the end, doesn't she?
She puts it in because there's spare ones.
You wouldn't be stuck in a pod with a bloody rabid cat attached to your face.
There's probably fairies that have like a cat, like they keep the cat on board, you know. So the Nostromo has a cat. I don't have a problem with that. And I liked how she saved it at the end. I thought that was cool.
Shouldn't have been a dog, shouldn't it? Who wants a fucking cat?
Yo, I can't argue with that. I'm not the biggest cat person, to be honest. But like, I think the cast is just fantastic. Like, to rapid fire through a few of them. Tom Skerritt as the kind of captain of the ship, I thought was really great. Very Han Solo-y. I think that was offered to Harrison Ford. He turned it down. But
really?
I think he did a really good job. Ian Holm as Ash, I think, awesome. Like, so good. And I think like when it takes the sinister's turn, like his performance really shines there. Harry Dean Stanton was great. John Hirsch, great. Yaphet Kotto, I loved as well. So like, yeah, it was really just top tier, I think, across the board. But obviously the star of the film, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. I was quite surprised how little she's in the beginning of the film. Like, it really doesn't focus on her until about 25 minutes in or so. Like, she barely has any dialogue. She's there in the scenes. The camera never lingers on her. It never gives you a sense that she's the protagonist here.
Do you not think that's purposeful? Because it kind of is almost discounted in a lot of the earlier scenes, isn't she? Where people aren't really listening to her orders. And that I think makes her kind of a triumph at the end even more impactful. And this absolutely sets up her being kind of one of the most iconic characters in sci-fi, certainly going forward, and particularly in Aliens, where she literally is just superb.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely. One of my favourite horror protagonists of all time, though. A little bit of trivia about the film. According to Yaphet Kotto, Ridley Scott told him to annoy Sigourney Weaver off camera so that there would be a genuine tension between their characters on screen. Kotto later came to regret this because he really liked Weaver. I think that's just a dick move to do. Like, to go piss her. You know, they're actors. They can act like they don't like each other. They don't have to actually make them. Sounds like a bit of a toxic work environment, I feel.
Sounds like a bit of a dick move, that, doesn't it?
To get Jones the cat to react fearfully to the descending alien, a German shepherd was placed in front of him with a screen between the two, so the cat wouldn't see it at first. The screen was then suddenly removed to make Jones stop advancing and start hissing. I think that's a really clever way of getting some cat action.
I could have done that. You want to see my cat? I'll do a cat for you. See, that's pretty good, isn't it? I could have been the cat. No?
Okay, you'd be a great cat. You are a pussy, so...
Oh, how dare you.
Copywriter Barbara Gibbs came up with the famed tagline, "In space, no one can hear you scream." I would say that's probably the most iconic. The best tagline of a movie ever made. Like, it's, yeah, and it really just captures the vibe of this film, I think, as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's absolutely spot on. I love that.
And lastly, I had this down for trivia because I'd heard this and I went looking into it, and now I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I'll say it anyway. Do you know the scene where Sigourney Weaver is stripping down to get into the pod and then she sees the alien? So apparently the rumor is that she didn't shave her pubic area and she wouldn't pull up her pants during filming. So they had to pay $5,000 to some artist to like airbrush it out of each frame of the movie.
Nice beaver.
I mean,
There's a good clip for you. There's a good clip for you. You can put that naked gun. Nice beaver. Thank you. I've just had it stuffed.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I can't verify that, but apparently that's...
I don't know about that, James. I mean, this was what, the 70s?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So,
the 70s. I watched a lot of 70s and they do have bushiness down there. But I would have thought that the technology for...
Well, no, it would have been literally like taking each frame of the film and fixing it like by hand.
Imagine if that's your party claim to fame. You know, you're having an evening soiree cocktails. Oh yeah, I once airbrushed Sigourney Weaver's Punani. Individual hairs. Yeah.
So yeah, I hope it's true, but I thought it was.
We should get her on the show. Let's get her on the show and we can ask her. Yeah.
Next interview. Yeah, 100%. So the future of this franchise, obviously, Alien is become such a like way bigger than just this film or films in general. You know, there's several movies. You know, we got video games, comic books, a TV show, crossovers with various franchises. In the comics, there's like DC, Marvel. I think has a crossover at the moment.
Yeah.
So it was followed up by Aliens 7 years later, more action oriented. James Cameron obviously directing that.
Wow, was that 7 years later?
7 years later. It's that big a gap. Yeah.
That's just an interesting little tidbit for you, Mr. Keegan. That's the first time I ever remember a film having a special edition. So something different to what you actually saw, you know? Because they came out with Aliens, then there was Aliens Special Edition, which was a far superior film.
I hate when there's 4 different versions of me. And Ridley Scott does all the time as well. There's a director's cut of this as well. And then like Blade Runner when there's 6 different versions, you know? One and then an extended, and that's enough. So yeah, 7 years later, Aliens, then Alien 3 in the 90s. People don't like that one, isn't it? Is that the one where she's in prison?
Is that the prison one?
I think so, yeah. I think probably the best shot of the franchise is where the alien's kind of leaning in and she's like recoiling against the wall. I think that's a kind of one. But yeah, I've actually not seen it, but I've heard not good.
It's all right. From memory, it's okay. I can't remember being blown away by it, but it's okay.
That then followed by Alien Resurrection, which I think Ripley dies in the end of 3 and then it's a clone or something.
Yeah, she comes back with alien powers or some shit. So she's all of a sudden she's like super strong, and so I seem to remember something with a basketball. Don't know what. It's something with a basketball, but she's like super athletic.
Oh yes, I have seen that scene. Yeah. She's like really good. It's like the Catwoman scene where she's doing the basketball, and then obviously the Alien vs Predator films, which I know they're not very well regarded, but I quite like. And I don't know if it's just because I love the concept of those two fighting.
I like them. I quite enjoy them.
And then Prometheus and Alien Covenant. So Ridley Scott returned to do a prequel, and yeah. Prometheus, I didn't like some of the story elements. I didn't like the explanation of like the aliens are a manufactured species.
Yeah, I agree. So I've watched them recently, rewatched them recently, and they're not as bad films as I remember. I didn't need to know how the aliens were kind of created. I liked the idea of them just being a species, not that they've been manufactured and made.
I think going into what it's called the space jockey in this film, but what the kind of creature thing that they find chestbursted on the planet. I like the idea of telling that story, but I think it was just too weird. I remember being a bit bored by it as well, and there were like wasn't an alien in it, you know what I mean? Alien Covenant I think I liked, but not like love. And then we have Alien Romulus, which we have a video on the channel about our thoughts on that one, so go check that out if you're interested in that. I think both of us quite liked it, but definitely wasn't as amazing as I think the trailers made it out to be. And then we have Alien Earth, which we are both watching at the moment, which I think, yeah, absolutely stellar, like incredible. So again, thoughts on the channel if you want to check that out. Video games, just to name a couple, like I think the Alien vs Predator game is quite cool. Alien Isolation, huge fan, love that game, terrifying, too long, but I mean, just scary as fuck. Like, I hate games where a thing is chasing you. You know what I mean? Like throughout the entire thing. It's like, oof.
Sets your anxiety levels off, doesn't it?
Any final thoughts on Alien?
If people are on the fence about going back and watching Alien and they've loved it previously, I think I'll kind of recommend just leaving it. I'm a little bit sad that I've not enjoyed it as much as I expected to enjoy it. But then, to be fair, like I say, I always think I remember liking Aliens better. Overall, it's a good film. It's got great special effects, great atmosphere, superb acting talent, some lovely creature effects and monsters and things like that. Just for me, it was a little bit slow at points, and I did find myself wandering a little bit, and I didn't like a cat.
You know, I feel the opposite. I think it's an excellent kind of setting up of this universe. I like the horrorness of it. Like I like that tone more than the kind of big bombastic action of Aliens, you know. Yeah, I just thought the characters were thoroughly entertaining. There was no point where I was bored. I think I would agree that some scenes maybe go on a little bit longer than need to, but it didn't stick out to me. It's just a masterfully crafted film. And I understand, considering where the franchise went later, to not look back as fondly on it. But I think it's just a phenomenal piece of art, you know, and I absolutely love it. How would it be better, Peter? How would you improve
So
this
picture
film?
the scene. You've got the dinner scene. John Hurt suddenly grabs his chest, falls on the table. Everybody's gathered around, right? Out of his chest bursts Nick Cage. Not creature effects, just a little Nick Cage.
Oh, a little Nick Cage.
Naked.
Okay.
Yeah, little Nick Cage. Naked, obviously. He runs off, and then the rest of the film is just a naked Nick Cage hunting him down on the ship.
But does he grow into a full Nick Cage?
Nick Cage, yeah. He grows very, like, Nick Cage size. He's just Nick Cage, basically. I just want to see Nick Cage naked running around the ship with all that strobe lighting and smoke.
Geiger would have loved it, I think.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah.
Nick Cage's Nick Cage's
around.
huge shiny helmet. Do you know what I mean? That's what we want.
And that's I'll Be Right Back on Alien. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. We review all the latest horror movies in the cinema, and we have episodes of I'll Be Right Back on various movies. So go check that out. Don't forget to check out One Good Scare live every second Friday, and we'll be right back next time with...
Never, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.